the panther, trying to address as many issues I heard today. First being the preserve at Corkscrew, East Brooks, on the shores at Corkscrew, which was also in the DRGR. We had 1,500 acres approved, 1,500 units approved. We didn't build 1,500 units, we built 441 units. We built 648 units. It was approved for 1,500 units, so it's not more than what this project is. When you look at what we did in our projects previous, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, the preserve we set aside 300 acres of land. We paid for the wildlife corridor preserve on Corkscrew Road that is now going to be installed, which was supposed to be the seed money for TDRs, which has never taken place. The TDR program is not in place. Nothing I can do about that. It's not there, it's not there. The money we funded as a seed, 1.3 million and change, is now going to be used for the underpass in front of the new project called the Crossings, and utilize all the land I set aside instead of building my other 300 units for wildlife. And they're going to build all the way up to the boundary of the preserve. And that whole underpass will go all the way through and connect to Wild Blue. This particular project, this is your panther map. The red dots are your panthers. This is the property. No panthers are using it, hardly at all, a couple. Here there's an underpass on Corkscrew Road that the panthers are traveling under. When we're done with this project, we're restoring 700 plus acres from what you see in that picture of sod, that's the rest of sod removal, which is all dirt, I might add, that's why the panthers aren't using it, to a picture of what you see next to it, to the tune of $5, $6, $7 million.
2/3 of the property is being restored.
2/3 of the property, not 1/3, 2/3.
From farmland into wetlands and uplands. And it'll recreate flowways and wildlife corridors.
Okay, let me continue, please. Septic systems are your biggest problem with your Estero Bay. I heard that today, about water quality in your Estero River. I'm all for it. This project, we reduced the nitrogen in this project by 54%. We reduced the phosphorus by 83%. We restored the 3 natural flowways that were historically there and connect to the airport mitigation project, opening up those berms, stopping some of the flooding that's now occurring at Burgundy Farms and at Corkscrew Road. Allowing that water to travel, be filtered through the flowways and through the 700 acres of wetlands and uplands we're going to install. How many plants? 3 million, 5 million? Millions of plants will be planted where you see sod farming taking place today. Okay. I'm not happy about the lawsuit. I'm trying to really be calm about all this, and I hope you appreciate them a little bit. I get a call from the news press on the 17th of December telling me the lawsuit was filed, and I wasn't real happy about that because I was told it was not going to be filed. I've been here the last 2 ECCL meetings for questions. I never got called on. I said, I'm happy to discuss whatever you need me to discuss. Nobody called on. Okay. We own the property. You can be sure we're not going to just roll over and say, okay, we're going to have to do what we have to do, and I hate to see that because I believe in these cases, the attorneys are the big winners. Not the developer and not the residents. The attorneys are the big winners. They'll end up making a lot of money on this thing, and we'll let the judge decide, and we'll go from there. And we're willing to take our chances on that, by the way. When you look at, we started this in June of 2014. June of 2014. I notified Mr. Eslak January of 2015 with an email that we submitted the comp plan. I've asked multiple times, let's sit down and discuss the project. To no avail. I met one time with him at Grandeza. We had the public hearings. Lee County public hearing, Board of County Commissioner public hearings, hearing examiner public hearings. Showed up. It's Whitehead, and I believe it was Peter Canzalowski. And that's right. And those are the only 2 that showed up, and they gave the same testimony on my project that they gave on Wild Blue. The panther habitat, the wetlands. The difference is Wild Blue is going to destroy 211 acres of wetlands We're destroying 0.5, 1/2 acre. Not 200 acres, 0.5. 1/2 acre of wetlands is being destroyed and being replaced with 700 plus acres of wetlands and restoration, which I can tell you, if you own the property and you look at the DR property that was owned today, none of it's been restored. They won't spend the money on restoration. So the idea behind it is a private-public partnership to allow us, to Mr. Spikowski's comments, consolidate the density on the property, get the additional density, utilize those funds that we're going to make in that project, and put it back into the property, and to benefit the property. $2.5 million will be donated to the Panther Conservancy Fund to protect panthers on this property. We have to buy the tickets. To your question, we met with the Florida Fish and Wildlife in Vero Beach 3 times already. So we're on top of that all the way. We plan on doing the proper things and the necessary permits that are required. You know, folks, if you care about your water, you should applaud the project, not sue the project. When we did the shores, I mean, I could say, I did 15 months of work on this thing. I went into it, and unfortunately, I only have a few minutes to talk about it. But I did bring all my consultants for any questions you folks might have. When we did the shores, we took a plat that was recorded for well and septic, spread out across the whole property. We consolidated that density around the lake because the kids from Estero and other places were going in there swimming. And we said, let's make it a nice place. Well, I got the news today, it's the #1 community Southwest Florida. But you're right, it's 4 miles away from Ben Hill Griffith. These lots in this new community, by the way, the green space Patty's talking about, is because the lots are 165 feet deep. You don't see that in Florida. You see 135, 140. This is 165. With separation from back-to-back homes, a minimum of around 100 feet of grassy areas so that when the water runs off, it runs through this grass that's going to be planted, that's going to filter the water. Department of Natural Resources at Lee County put restrictions on us that are unheard of when it comes to pre-treatment and making sure the water's clean. Now let's talk about water, amount of water, which is everybody so concerned, and I am too, by the way. This project right now has permits available to it for, I apologize, I don't have them exactly in front of me, 563 million gallons or some number like that. Some 560 some million gallons of water a year with their sod farming. We're reducing it by 835,000 gallons a day by eliminating those wells. You save water when you eliminate 835,000 gallons coming out of the ground. We're working currently with the county, which has a site in the middle of it. That's that little triangle you see. You know what that site was bought for? Rubbish. That was going to be a transfer station in the middle of your DIGR. And guess what we did? We approached the county and said, how can we make that restoration, that 48 acres? We don't want rubbish in the subdivision. So what was the first thing we did? Paid $1 million and eliminated all oil and gas rights to drill on that property. What was the next thing we did? Went to the county and said, what can you do? They said, well, if you get it all approved, that it is approved, we'll certainly sit down with you. Got approved, we sat down with them. They wanted to do ASR wells, deep well storage wells across the rear of our property, in exchange for working on a deal where we could restore that 48 acres for, again, additional panther habitat. We got, from there, I know we're running short on a little time, I'd like to introduce April Olson, who was the first meeting we sat down with, one of the first meetings before we bought the property, and said, April, what do we need to do here to make this a good project? She recommended Kevin Irwin. You might know the name, some of you. He's one of the authors of the Culver-Dole study. We hired Kevin as a consultant. He walked us through, we met the Dover Coal study piece by piece by piece. Unfortunately, we can't keep him on as a full-time consultant because anyone knows Kevin, his schedule's pretty crazy. He goes to China, goes here, the Everglades. But you talk about a true environmentalist. And he said, Joe, if you did the project the way it's currently zoned, 1 per 10, it would be like a bathtub that you pull the plug out of and all the water would come down and you'd lose the water. And a mine would do the same thing, which by the way, there was an application to put another mine here, which we squashed. Gone. The current zoning, and I have a map here somewhere of it, I think, or it's in the book, covers the entire site with large lots. Well, and septic, is that what we want? 130 straws in the ground? Do we want septic systems that are going to flood your Estero Bay River with feces and everything else? Or do we want a sanitary sewer to go out that way, only sized for our project, I might add? And by the way, any other property in the DRG area that wants to be done has to go through another comprehensive plan amendment. What's frustrating is a couple people show up to these public meetings to learn the facts. You have to judge this for yourself, people. But know the facts, that's all I ask. Because the facts are right here, and I have all my consultants, and I'm not afraid the attorneys are here today. Use it in court, I'm okay with that. Because what I'm telling you is the truth and the facts. The traffic, I got a kick out of this one. I met with Mayor Batos this week. He said, Joe, he says, I have a copy of the plans. In the book, there's a cover sheet. I have a full set of the widening of Corkscrew Road. 1994. Look at the widening Corkscrew Road, 4 lanes. With Bellatero in it. Okay, 2006, what they do? Build the plans. Spend $1.5 million and build the plans. What's the next step? Got bids. $15, $16 million. That road was supposed to be put in on the residents' pocket. People who live in that area were going to be assessed to build that road. The CRSA has chose not to do it, and they disbanded the CRSA. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I understand the residents were a little upset about the assessment. Rightly so. The mayor says to me, in the MPO, it's going to cost $70 million. I said, $70 million? It's $18 million to build that road the most. While Blue and myself, we've agreed to a proportionate share agreement with the county. Additional $1,600 per unit, putting it at $4,500 per unit just for the road. And for everyone's information, by the rules of the county as they exist today, we do not breach the level of service, even when it's built out. And for anybody that thinks it's going to be built out in a week and a half, it's about 10 years. And within that 10-year time horizon, Corkscrew Road will be widened. A couple more things and I'll wind it down. I will, I appreciate it. I will, thank you. The DR of the density restriction portion is important. When the state went for its first comprehensive plan amendment, according to Paul O'Connor from the county and Kevin Irwin, they couldn't comply with the density. So they chose the areas that were way out, and they said to get our density requirement down for the state approval, let's make it 1 to 10 in this area. And then one commissioner came up and said, let's just put it what it is, DR on the GR. So that, everybody thinking it was zone 1 to 10 because for ecology was wrong. But if you don't want 1 to 10 here anywhere, or by the way, anywhere else in the DRGR. It's the last thing you want. Let me see, I think I don't know, I can't say before I just, I've said what I need to say, but I tell you what I do want to offer up. I passed out some literature. I'd ask you to read that literature, please. And I'd also ask you, if you have any questions today, I'm happy to call all my consultants up. Traffic, ecology, water, they're all here, and they'd be more than happy to answer your questions openly and right to the point. Thank you for your time.
Let me just make 2 points on this. One is, we filed a lawsuit against the county. We didn't file against Cameratta. I happen to personally believe that the county erred in leading on Joe and his colleagues to pursue this. you know, in conflict with the comprehensive plan for the area. But let me just one last comment before I open it up for discussion. That is that our position, adopted by everybody, was that we would oppose these projects, both Wild Blue and Corkscrew Farms, on the basis that they ought to not be approved until such time as a comprehensive study was completed, not only on traffic, but on all the other elements that went into the DRGR plan. And that was our position. And you know, that didn't happen. And that was the county that didn't do that. And it wasn't you, Joe. I mean,
I understand that. And I don't hold it personal.
the developer's job is to, you know, develop projects to make money, you know,
And put a lot back into the farm.
and
What I'd like to do is ask you to call April Olson up, because she's one of the people that gave an approval, or more or less agreed with our project, and also had a third-party consultant.
Speak from her seat, we want to
Yeah,
give
I'll just-
everybody.
Just quickly, please.
I can just state the
All
conservancy.
right, so the floor is open for comment from anybody in the audience.
How about April?
Okay,
I'll just restate the Conservancy's position. First of all, we do not support any development, but we do not oppose some developments if they show net environmental benefits. And this particular project restores 3 flowways that used to exist on the property. We also hired a watershed specialist, Roger Kopp, who has reviewed the plans and said that there are water resource benefits to the property. There's also 750 acres of land that will be put into preservation and will be restored into wetlands, and hydric pine forest, and will create a lot of habitat for panther as well. Also, there's the elimination of the well, and septic. Currently, the water is discharged off the land and it's not being treated. It's full of fertilizers and pesticides. So we acknowledge the environmental restoration work. It's very extensive on this property.
one of the problems that we've always had with development approvals is they're project by project. They don't have the broader vision that is required. I don't think that any of us in examining this proposal doesn't agree that Joe has done everything possible on the site. Our concern is what happens off the site and to the entire area, and just don't believe, frankly, that you know, starting with 1,300 and some units that far out into the middle of the DRGR is the smartest thing to do. But, in any instance, other comments or questions before we move on? Yes.
I just would like to clarify something about Panther telemetry, because a lot of that has been discussed here. People may not know that Panther telemetry is gathered during the day. The FWC flies planes over the area, the Panthers are collared, they're transmitting a signal. Panthers are not active during the day. They're in forested areas, they're resting, they're sleeping. At night, you've never seen Panther telemetry on roadways, but that's where all our Panthers are being killed. They're moving through this area. They're moving through the entire area. I'll stop there, but also I'd like to reiterate what you said, Mr. Cameratta. This is nothing personal whatsoever. Absolutely not. I'm sure you did the best job possible. I agree with the gentleman here. It's our public agencies, our county. I'm sorry?
I followed all the rules.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there's a larger issue for the community, for the citizens, for people who love wildlife, that they want our public agencies, the county commissions, the Fish and Wildlife Service, the Fish and Wildlife Commission, to take the active role.
Where were they 14 months ago?
Well, I didn't know about this project either, by the way, and I didn't get to the zoning meeting only because I didn't know about it.
Move on.
Yeah.
Pete, you got a comment, and then,
I do appreciate what you said, that both of you, that it's about the county. And you may not know this, but your lawyer knows this, that the property owner, Mr. Cameratta, is an indispensable party because it's his land and it's his project that impacts it. So while it may not be intended to be personal, it is.
I understand that there are implications, or you wouldn't be here. Pete,
Well, I was the one who provided testimony at all of the various county commission meetings over the summertime, and I want to reiterate again. We thought that the project that was proposed by Mr. Cameratta was admirable in terms of environmental restoration. What we argued, or what we were seeking, was the county to provide comprehensive studies beforehand of traffic, water resources, animal or wildlife impact, not just of the 2 square mile Corkscrew Farms area, but of the entire DRGR once this project was put in. This is just one. It could be a domino effect where other properties start going one after another. So we wanted to see a comprehensive, independent study conducted by a third party that would look at all of the issues that they looked at for their 2 square miles, but they didn't for the entire DRGR.
thank